There. Bang. Done. Nah, I'm just kidding.
Hi, and welcome to episode 4 of Unpublished Eats, where I take food from the pages of my novels and make them up in the kitchen. This week we're going for Evan Shrike's Earl Grey. This is one of the first weeks I've kind of made a departure from the actual text of the novel for a slightly more interesting dessert. I mean, I could have made a humble cup of Earl Grey tea, but it would be very, very boring. So, what we got is a Sunday morning, a dessert constructed of Earl Grey ice cream, Christmas brandy syrup, Farside clotted cream, and of course a little bit of gin granitas and a nice little port-soaked Eccles cake to finish off with. So this is going to be a fairly boozy dessert. Let's make some food, guys.
Earl bloody Grey!
This unexplained interjection was from Shrike, who had been poking the father like a myopic anthropologist on a planet with a dangerous reputation.
Yeah, I nearly ordered that. What is an Earl Grey? Earl Grey, my dear Nathan, is only the finest beverage in the verse. I had it once at the commander's dinner in the senior officers' mess. They don't service to, juniors. Lovely stuff. Thought I'd not be able to afford it again.
Well, if it's in the menu settings, go nuts.
Oh, I can select a cup as well.
Nathan turned back to me with a satisfied smirk of prejudices confirmed.
Okay, first things first of this week, we're going to make ourselves some Farside clotted cream. Bit of double cream goes in, along with a handful of maple wood ash that I've taken out of the smoker. Then we're going to use the ever-popular smoking gun with a little bit of hickory in there. Fill up that Tupperware with smoke for as much as you can fit in. And then seal off the lid and let it circulate nicely. After you've done that, you're going to want to sieve out all the various bits of ash, having left it for around about an hour or so. And then into the oven at around about 80 degrees. You'll want to do this overnight because it's going to take about 12 hours at the 80 degrees and then into the fridge until it's cooled down. You should get something with the consistency of a kind of fudge. I'm not going to show you me tasting that because it was fairly obscene. And now on to the marginally more healthy portion of this dessert. Grab yourself a cucumber, peel about half of it, and then chop it up and slap it into the blender. I'm using a little hand blender here because it's a great wee bit of kit. Once you have that, then you're going to take your bunches of mint. Again, this is from the garden. I went for a mix of apple mint and peppermint, both from the garden. Again, pop this into the blender. Give it a good solid blend for as long as you need to get a kind of smooth, greenish consistency. And then add the Ophir gin. Now I went for Ophir because it's got a nice hint of cardamom all the way through that really pops the flavours, but any decent gin will work out for this. Again, blend to a nice slurry-like consistency and then pop into a Tupperware and into the freezer. Give it an hour and then stir it furiously to make a kind of ice slurry. Moving on to the next half of the healthier dessert, we're going to make our mango and pea shoot crisps. Again, slurry them up in the blender. You can use both mango or melon here. I went for mango for the kind of slightly denser fibres. Once you get to this stage, you're basically passing it through a sieve using the back of a spoon to press out the maximum liquid, and then pressing it down between sheets of greaseproof paper to pop it in the oven and crisp that up. Back to the unhealthy fella, and you've got around about 50 grams of candied orange peel there. 5 or 6 cloves and enough port to make a major harumph properly. Put those together and let them mature nicely. And then we move on to the Christmas brandy syrup. Cloves, cardamom, cinnamon, nutmeg, bit of orange peel if you fancy, all the Christmas flavours you can possibly bring into a pot, and then just boil them, let them infuse nicely. Let the liquid reduce down by around about half before you start any sort of sieving. Boil your port and orange down to a sort of sticky residue, and then sieve out your Christmas brandy syrup. At a rolling boil, add in the caster sugar and stir. Add in 4 tablespoons of brandy and then let it reduce down nicely. Now we grab our still warm port and orange confectionery, press it in between a bit of tin foil, don't try and use greaseproof paper for this, and then squash it in between 2 boards to get as flat as you possibly can. That can go into the oven at the same heat and indeed the same tray as the crisps for the healthier dessert. Now on to the reason for this whole sorted exercise. Earl Grey tea, around about 10 grams of loose leaf tea, then grab 250 of milk, and go for the same again of double cream, because otherwise it's not really ice cream. Set them up for a nice little boil, and then add the most annoying ingredient in the earth, which is glucose syrup. That will take you an incredible amount of time to get in, but it will dissolve away to next to nothing, trust me. 40 grams of caster sugar, and then 2 egg yolks. I went for duck egg because, well, why wouldn't I, frankly? And then blend the holy granny out of your egg yolks until they form a kind of nice fluffy paste. Add a little bit of black food colouring into your boiling milk and cream mix. And then, once you have that, you should be able to pour A into B and create yourself a rather magnificent custard. Once that's gone well, in your tea goes. Blend furiously, and then leave it to cool. After that, pour it into an ice cream maker, and leave it to swirl away, chilling out nicely, and then pop it in the freezer. Now for the assembly, a little bit of far side clotted cream in the base, and then a few chips of your Eccles cake. Follow it up with your Earl Grey ice cream, and then a little bit more for decoration and some brandy syrup. Move on the other side, your mango and pea shoot flakes, followed by your cucumber granitas, a few more flakes for decoration, some pea shoots, why not? At this stage I went into the tasting, and god damn, that was actually seriously good. A little bit of mint syrup that I forgot about. And if you enjoyed this, feel free to like and subscribe.
Thank you.